Bravely Default veterans know all too well that grinding and farming in this game can be fun, and this is the best spot to grind at the very beginning of the game. This method is going to go over how to get some advanced equipment for the time, a ton of useful items like tents and ethers and even a stat boosting item, and also tons of JP through a power leveling method, all in the first 2 hours of the game. Forage is the skill you're going to learn with the Freelancer at level 4, and it's extremely useful to use in order to get a ton of different items. Now, the higher your job level is, the better the items you're going to receive, but at lower job levels, I was able to get items like mini ethers, tents, stones that hit all enemies for 350 HP, and most notably, JP orbs. These JP orbs only give 30 job points, but you'll gain a ton of them very fast. I'm talking around 20 or 30 if you consistently forage each battle, which you will be able to do as long as Sloan is on your team. He pretty much takes out every enemy in one hit, and even heals you when you take too much damage, so I like to use Forage about 8, maybe even 12 rounds before taking out enemies. On the north end of the Halcyon region, you can cut the grass here for some gear that's a bit stronger than the stuff that's available right now. You'll head north from the Outlaw's house, and you'll see this patch of flowers that you can take out just by cutting the grass. Just tread carefully here if you're very low leveled, since the enemies here are a bit stronger than the ones right near Halcyon Village. Now there's all sorts of equipment you can pick up here, including a glaive, a broad axe, headbands which increase your strength, there's mithril daggers, even fire talismans that increase your strength by 10 and your flame resistance by 1. While you're cutting the grass here, just be careful to not hit the Linan Sith here. You won't be taking it out until you're much higher leveled. And if you do hit it, just run away and keep cutting the grass for your different equipment and spoils. Along with the small JP orbs you can collect with Forage, this is what I like to do to gain tons of JP quickly. Fighting these vesps, these wasp-like enemies, they're going to drop insect nectars. Now these food items create battle chains when you fight enemies that like the food. You can use the insect nectar to fight the vesps for multiple battles, which will result in huge JP along with a multiplier depending on how many battles you fought. So the more battles you fought, the higher the multiplier. If you've been foraging diligently and often, you can use stones to take out larger groups of enemies like this. It'll do 350 HP to everybody, and that pretty much takes them out. But after you've taken out the vesps, and there's no more of them, just head out a bit north to the Hydrangea Hills dungeon, then come back out to fight more vesps. You just rinse and repeat. And when you combine this with the JP orbs that you've collected through foraging, you'll be mastering jobs in no time. The last little tip I have for you guys has to do with these Brimstone Stallions. Now these guys have a rare drop of speed buns, which will permanently increase your speed by 1, 2, or even 3 points. Speed is a pretty important stat in this game, so if you're going to go ahead and use them, before you do, I would suggest saving your game beforehand. That way, if you use it and you only get, say, 1 point of speed, just load your file back up and try to aim for that 2 or 3 point boost. Now this drop is rare, but in my next video, I'll show you guys how to get speed buns much more consistently at a 100% rate. Otherwise, I wouldn't spend too much time farming for these because I just don't think it's worth the time, especially when there's a method to get them consistently, but we don't have the job class and we're not strong enough yet to do it. There's a lot of stuff you can do in the first couple of hours of Bravely Default 2. I'm going to be making more guides in what I find in this game, so if you're into that sort of thing, you know what buttons to push down there. Happy farming.